What's going on, family? Entertainer, motivator, educator, Lucky Murray, back with another CHHnow.com. Today, we're speaking about Lecrae and Triple E, speaking to Relevant Magazine about the Gawvi situation. But before I go any further, here's what I need you to do. One of two things. One, go to CHHnow.com, the latest greatest Christian hip hop news, media, sports, all that good stuff. Two, you need to like the video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to let you know every time I drop a video. And three, share the video. I don't care where you share it at. Share. It helps out a ton. So let's get to this. Man, Lecrae and Triple E has been talking about this Gawvi situation. And in the past week, this conversation has not only bridged the gap in Christian hip-hop, right? It's not hard to be a big story in Christian hip-hop. It is hard for Christian hip-hop to be a bigger story on the Christian industry news. And not only that, bubble into the mainstream. Billboard actually covered the story, and Billboard is one of the biggest outlets when it comes to mainstream music in general. And actually, the Cruise Hip Hop Corner was mentioned in the article as well, which is dope. Shout out to the Cruise Hip Hop Corner. I think that Triple E and Lecrae had to have this conversation because of the implication that this would have had not only for Reach Record, but just for the overall environment that women has to go through in the music industry as a whole. And it's not only in mainstream, but also in the Christian music scene as well. Thizzle spoke about it. I did a video about that the other night. Also, a lot of people are like, listen, our women are being left out in the cold and not really given a whole lot of opportunity and subject to the same abuse as women in the mainstream. And this is supposed to be a Jesus-led movement, which a lot of times is not. So we're going to look at the article that Lecrae and Triple E has to say. We're also going to just talk about that. This is a snippet from the podcast. They did a podcast. So the article is a snippet from the podcast. So let's jump into the article real quick and kind of see what's going on, right? Catalina, which is Wordplay wife, actually spoke to Relevant as well. She's the one that came out with the allegations, and she said because of the post that Gawvi had like a week ago, it's since been deleted, that he came out and said that his marriage was over. And the fact of the matter is that him and his wife just couldn't get along. There was no scandal. They just, two different people went two opposite ways. She felt, because I believe Gawvi's wife is her friend, and she knew the back end of the story, so she came public, right? Once she came public, it had a snowball effect on Gawvi and the whole situation. Remember, Gawvi was supposed to release an album, I think, like this week, if I'm not mistaken, and he was set to go on the Unashamed tour with Reach Records. Now, his tour is going to be at home. So, here's a quote that she says, right? I want to start with this quote. It says, the bar for men in the church is so low that these men assume everyone else is as bad as them. She says, I think for a lot of predatory people who don't belong in the church leadership, the praise does it for them. If you're addicted to praise, go find something else to do. You're not a leader, which is true words spoken by a wise woman. In that respect, she says she has no qualms with how Reach Records has handled the allegation and their decision to cut professional ties with Gawvi. I agree with her 100%. I said that in the video that they should have did something immediately, and I'm glad they did, because they didn't do something immediately. Now it's on Reach Records and their blood on their hands. I don't think Gawvi's making them that much money in order to keep them through this type of scandal. And in 2022, if a scandal like this breaks out, you cannot keep somebody like that. So he says Reach Records co-founder Lecrae and artist Triple E joined Relevant senior editor Tyler Hickabee for a conversation about Gawvi, reflecting on the conversations leading up to their decisions and what they hope fans understand about the road ahead. When women come to our concerts or interact with us, we want them to be encouraged and blessed, not taken advantage of, Triple E said in a follow-up email following after our conversation. There's absolutely no excuse for that, and it grieves me to think anyone had a different experience. We want to raise the bar on how women are treated and valued in hip hop, not lower it. He continues, I think that's one of the things we have been called to do, and there's no room for anything else. The conversation has been very lightly edited for clarity. I said that. And then, so here's Lecrae. So Relevant said, start just by telling me a little bit about the past few days and how you reacted, as some of the news about Gawvi has started coming out on social with people talking about their experiences with him. So here's Lecrae. It's definitely been a challenging couple of days. Man, it's been a roller coaster of emotions. It's a lot to process. You've got to process everything. You got to make decisions in the midst of it all. So it's been rough. Triply, yeah, likewise. It's been tough in part because what is an interesting story to other people or something that's sad for a distance. It is very close to us with people that we love, with relationships that we love a lot. That we love a lot. It's very close to us that people we love, with relationships that we love a lot. So yeah, it has been a heartbreaking situation. So it's relevant. The statement you released said the folks at Reach Records has been processing and thinking about for about a year. What does that last year look like for you guys, and what changed in the last few days? Lecrae. So here's Lecrae. He says, yeah, obviously I've known Gawvi since he was a teenager. So when he brings us information about him getting a divorce, that's something that we needed to process, that we needed to figure out. Well, wait, what's going on and how can we walk with you through this? And then just him struggling in his marriage and him just not in a healthy space. That's what we knew about, was his own personal, spiritual, emotional health and his own marriage being struggling. And that was all we knew. So we were just trying to get him to just be transparent with us as far as what was going on. So that was us trying to walk through. Basically, it was a lot of character deficiencies that we had seen over the last year. So for us, it was, man, what's going on? And how do we process this? But of course, when everything else popped up, it was kind of like, we had already stopped putting out his music and stopped doing stuff because we were just trying to process the character deficiencies. But this was the hammer that drove the nail in, right? So I'm gonna read this last part from Relevant. You're in the middle of a tour right now that has been on. What does addressing that look like in the middle of being on the road and trying to minister to people that you've been seeing over the coming weeks? Strictly, well, yeah, it's definitely not the kind of spirit and mood we thought we were about to go into the tour with. Obviously, it's a little deflating. We've been doing 116 for a long time. Me, Craig, Tadashi, we had just been talking about it. It's been a long time we've been doing this together. I guess part of my heart is that we've going out as unashamed to it. We're unashamed of the gospel, and I would just hate for people to make it seem like this validates the whole message of being unashamed of the gospel, when really this doesn't. This is what the gospel is for. This is why we need the gospel, because we are a mess. And he goes on to say, we were sinners. We're sinners. And you can read the article. I have the link in the description below to read the article. Let me turn off my computer because I don't want y'all seeing penguins. So what does that have to do with this? I believe that, excuse me guys, my webcam just zoomed out all crazy like. So what, excuse the quality guys, I gotta keep going. What did I think about this real quick? I believe that they're speaking the truth, man. Like I understand now what that process was. They saw some character deficiencies, and it's hard to put a nail on the head. It's hard to pinpoint something when it's a character issue, right? I truly want you guys to understand that. Like, you can have a hunch on somebody, But to put a finger on it, especially when you don't really know the true person, they give you what they want you to know. And only God knows that real person. When this came out, like I said, they was already like, man, like what's going on? They weren't really putting this music out. You know what I'm saying? They was doing things in the background that was hurting the ends, but not so much. They was still trying to help this man out. And then to come out and say, well, you wasn't transparent with us. You got a divorce because you was being unfaithful to your wife. And we don't know what extent, if he could send those type of pictures to those women, just imagine what he was doing outside of that. So it's like this, man. There are real people going to real things too. And they made the decision very quick. And I think that what we need to learn is that, be careful of who is around you. A snake is a snake. It doesn't matter if it's in plain clothes or not. A wolf, if it's among sheep, is still a wolf. The only problem is that he may camouflage and try to be a sheep. And for the Reach Records, man, I pray that they can move on and move forward and really help the space that women are in, especially in Christian hip hop. Now, can we help in the mainstream space? I'm not 100% sure, but there's no reason why our sisters in Christ should be subject to this type of abuse, this type of mistrust, this type of God like predatory. I'm saying it wrong. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. A predatorial behavior from these men. And the more we get out of this space, the better it is, man. So that's my prayer. But I'm just a man behind the camera, just speaking. What do you think about this? Write that in the comment section below. Again, it's the entertainer, motivator, educator, and please don't forget all three. Lucky Murray, back with another CHHNow.com. Check out the website, subscribe to the channel, and also, yes, man, let me know what you think about the comment section below. But y'all know what time it is. It's the next time, people.